about that. It turns out that the audio issues were on my end, and I'm the idiot that did not set my settings correctly, so that I could actually hear Adam through my computer rather than through the damn Yeti microphone, which is what it was defaulted to set, or defaulted settings or whatever. But anyways, Adam, thank you very much for doing this with me today.
Yeah.
You know what I do here. I talk to people about how and why they left religion, and I usually like to go back to as far as you can remember, and like when you first sort of started thinking to yourself, okay, this stuff just doesn't make any sense, and you know, and that kind of thing, and then take us through that journey, the ups, the downs, and what led you to becoming the atheist activist that you are today. And before you get going, I just want to make I sort of found out about you through, I think it was GM Skeptic, who kind of popped your channel on his thread there, and him and I are pretty good friends. So I was like, oh, another one, great, let's go check it out. And we checked it out, and I saw you had a couple videos up, I think, at the time, and I watched them both, and I was instantly hooked and subbed right away.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, you talk about relevant, important shit, right? So, and I think it's important. And if you guys aren't subbed to Adam, the link to his channel is down below. So go and sub right away, and follow him on YouTube, on Twitter as well. All right, you won't be sorry. Anyways, Adam, you heard what I kind of wanted to hear, so let's get right into it.
Yeah, so I was homeschooled. I'm the youngest of 7, and I was raised evangelically. It wasn't quite quiverful or anything, but there were quite a few of us. So there was a touch of a fundamentalism there, but it was still kind of the modern, the typical evangelical type of church that you see. But I was obviously a believer from a young age because there wasn't an option to not be one. But there were always, I wouldn't say that I was ever the most ardent believer. There were a lot of things, even from a young age, that I took issue with. I have memories of actually reading the Bible on my own time and getting angry at some of the stories that I would read because I would see it as immoral. And I knew that I couldn't really question anyone about it. I knew that their answer would not be satisfactory. So kind of suppressed that for a while. But as I really started to hit my late teen years, I began to realize that I was a member of the LGBT plus community.
Okay.
And that was something that was absolutely not okay.
Of course.
And, basically the common religious arguments against that, that's what my family believed. So I went on this journey initially to try to reconcile being religious and being LGBT plus. Mm-hmm. And I was introduced to the liberal side of Christianity, where homosexuality isn't a sin. It's the difference in the translations and things like that.
Sure.
But that actually hurt my belief more, because that was when I realized that the Bible could be interpreted different ways. And to me, I was like, how is this the word of, how is this a divinely inspired word that's inerrant if people can interpret it different ways?
Sure.
And as I was kind of going on this journey, it finally reached a point. I was still living at home. I was a very sheltered kid, so I was still dependent upon them in some ways. But it finally reached a point where it became, you need to repent of this or you need to go. And me being the headstrong ass that I am, I packed my things up and I went. But I think that actually kind of benefited me, because for people when they deconvert, there's a lot of emotion there. And if you have family that are still believers, there could be a lot of expectations that you don't want to hurt them or you don't want to let them down. And I had this period of time where I could simply do it on my own terms without worrying about anyone else's feelings. And I still attempted to follow it. I still attempted to make sense of it. But ultimately, I found agnosticism, which I realize now was atheism. But I did not understand the labels. I didn't understand that I wasn't an agnostic. But then I met my wife, for the first time. She was the first open atheist that I ever met, the first one who really talked about being an atheist. And over this journey, I found myself starting to, the Pascal's wager never really landed. It never really connected for me. And I ultimately decided that I was not going to subject myself to unhappiness for this potential reward that might come. And my wife, again, she was the first atheist that I met. And because of her, I started looking more into what atheism meant. And I stumbled across Seth Andrews, the Thinking Atheist podcast. Seth Andrews was actually the first atheist that I listened to for an extended period of time. My first brush with an atheist was actually Christopher Hitchens debating Dinesh D'Souza. And I was a believer at that time, but Christopher Hitchens, his arguments, as a believer, I was like, I don't know what to say to that. So, like Seth says, he got hitch slapped. I borrowed from that. There was a moment that I got hitch slapped too. But so I started listening to Seth Andrews, and I started to really understand what being an atheist was, what people meant when they said I'm an atheist. I always thought that being an atheist meant that you were like a strong atheist. You were saying, no, there's no God, absolutely. And again, I thought I was an agnostic because I acknowledged, I was like, I can't really prove it. So from Seth, I discovered Matt, the atheist experience. From Matt and them, I discovered Aaron Ra. And I mean, it was just down the line.
Yeah, the dominoes start to fall.
Yes. And over the past 2 years, I just came to realize that I had been an atheist for so long and I just hadn't known it. And I have seen such a growth in who I am since I came to that understanding. And I think that the moment that I realized that I was truly an atheist, that was the final nail in the coffin on the religious emotional baggage that I had been carrying in some sense. And I still find myself examining certain beliefs or whatever, trying to make sure that I'm not carrying any of that with me.
Right. Well, a lot of times you hear that stuff hangs on for a while, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it can be hard. So, but yeah, kudos to you for taking those steps away from that. Put on those wings of atheism and fly.
Yeah. And it really lined up with my passions. I've always been really passionate about discussing these things. I've been having these philosophical conversations for a long time. And atheism was just exactly where I was like a perfect fit for. It just really lines up with my personality and what my goals are.
Right.
And so I had thought about starting a channel for a while. I think it was over 6 months. I kept thinking about starting a channel, and it was actually, again, my wife who finally was like, you just need to stop thinking about it because you're never going to be in exactly the place that you want to do. You want to be with your equipment and everything. So just go for it. And I was like, okay. And so I recorded my first video, which was about homeschooling, and I hated it. And I was like, I hate it. I want to redo it. But my wife and my friend were like, no, do it. So I uploaded it, and then Drew found it.
Yeah.
And it's just been ever since then. It's amazing how much interaction I've had with the community since.
He's the reason I found you, like I told you earlier.
Yeah. It's just been really cool. I didn't expect, a lot of YouTube communities aren't quite so welcoming of new people. There's more of a competition where, I want to keep my views or, my Patreons or whatever it is. And it was really cool to see that wasn't really happening in this part. So that was pretty cool.
No, it's great, actually. One of the things I instantly adored about this community is how supportive everyone was to each other. And even like the guys that have like hundreds of thousands of subs are like, no, yeah, I'll throw you a shout out. I'll come on your channel, whatever helps you get that boost. And of course, because every voice counts, as Caitlin Chloe always says, right?
Yeah.
And GE, right? So.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really been wonderful. I live in East Texas, which is very rural and it's very conservative. And it's been really nice to be able to connect with the community, where in this part of the state, it can be really difficult to connect with other atheists or any I'd say minority as far as LGBT or anything like that. It's actually kind of hard to connect with those people here because all the cities are so spread out and they're very conservative in nature. Mm-hmm. So that's been a real like wonderful thing for me. I've genuinely enjoyed that.
Quick question for you, Adam. Are you going to be, since you're in Texas already, are you going to be at the Faithless Forum next year?
Yeah, absolutely. I have the email waiting. It's going to be sending out as soon as tickets go live and everything. So yeah,
I'm all set up too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I had so much fun last time that it is a must go again for me. So
yeah, I didn't get to go to the last one, but I know a few people that went last year and they've made videos about how much fun and stuff they had. So I was like, I know I gotta go. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
There's a quick question from the audience, or the chat actually. Mm-hmm. My friend Reese wants to know if you work for UPS.
UPS?
Probably because of the shirt. There you go, Reese.
Now you know, Reese.
It's not. So, no special treatment packages for you. Sorry.
No, sorry. I'm not bringing you any packages. But yeah, I really think that it is so important for us to do this, and it's not so we can have the hundreds of thousands of subs or anything like that. But
no.
You know, the people that I watched and the stories that I've heard, some of them closely resemble my own. And those are so valuable for reminding people that they aren't alone and that their situation is not the end all be all. And so that's the real reason why I'm so motivated to talk about my deconversion story and to talk about the topics that I do, because I came from a background that was very fear-based and very focused on the end of the world, and just Harry Potter was evil and just all of these ridiculous things that most people hear and are like, that has to be a joke or whatever. And I'm like, no, it's really not. People actually believe these things. And so the focus of my channel is to not necessarily make a mockery out of these things. I think that mockery has a time and a place that it can be useful, but it's more so I more so want to highlight that it's unnecessary, that the fears are unnecessary and the guilt is unnecessary. And that's the real aim of my channel. Yeah, and it's amazing how many people are still tortured by that. I mean, we still have atheists who have nightmares of hell, and they can't shake that fear. And it's because it was so ingrained in them from a young age that you need to be terrified of this. Mm-hmm. And some people have PTSD symptoms from their religious background. So I think that it's really important for us to do this, because if I can help one person, then
that's the goal. If it reaches at least one, right?
Right, then I'm good. That's exactly why I've done all of this.
Duke Bonanza's in the chat now, and he says I look like an 80s rock ballad video. Probably because I have my fan going, right? I have my fan going, so it's blowing my hair everywhere. My hair has a
great.
mind of its own. It's kind of like Medusa.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I got this hat on, because it's just a poof under there.
What are you talking? You've got great hair. What are you talking about? Mine's just shaggy and everywhere.
It. Right now, it's just a mess.
Hang on. I had a couple other questions I was supposed to pop your way. What? Oh, Mark Caesar wants to know what I'm drinking. It's called Pacific Pilsner. I really like Pilsners in the summertime. Hang on here. I got to go back a ways. It looks like Mark was really trying to find that out for me a while ago. It's like 4 times it was posted in there. Okay. Oh, everyone wants to see those posters that are right behind you.
Okay. So I'm going to try and get this the best that I can with this laptop. But essentially, on this side, I don't know if you can read it or not, but this is sort of the strategy side of YouTube. You have, like it mentions, like SEO, advertising, subs, and everything. Mm-hmm. And then it's sort of a representation of all the work that we put in on the numbers side, on the production side of YouTube, and then the creative piece at the end.
Oh, cool.
I really like it because that's
kind of blurry, but we can kind of get the general idea of it there. Yeah. Now that you've explained it, we know it even a little bit more. So yeah,
I keep meaning to post a photo of it on Twitter.
You should.
I just keep forgetting.
By the way, genetically modified skeptic, or Drew, as I know him, is in the chat and claims that claims that he's low key jealous of your hair. So there you go.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't blame you. It's okay.
All right. So when you when you came out as an atheist, does your family know?
Yes.
They do.
Yes.
Right? What was kind of harder to tell them, the atheist part or the fact that you're a member of the LGBTQ?
Honestly, I feel like the atheist part has been worse.
Right.
Or in as far as how much they can't let that part go. And my dad has since passed, so it's mainly just my mother. But it's as much as she dislikes, my identity, I think the atheist thing is worse. I think that it's harder for her because I feel like
that a lot, to be honest.
Yeah, and yeah, it really is true because I think it's easier for Christians if they have an LGBT plus child who is still a believer, because they can say, oh well, maybe God won't punish them because they still believe.
Right.
Not only that, I'm like, no, I don't even accept that either. So I genuinely think it was the atheist part that was worse as far as the way it affects now. There's been a bit of an improvement in our interactions over LGBT things, but with the atheism thing, that shakes up a whole new level of fear in my family members.
Right. Reese is like, which God? Which one do you think when we're talking about Christianity, Reese? Come on. And Lucifer, another friend of mine who you may be familiar with, she's a moderator on quite a few channels, and she wanted to let you know that she very much enjoys your content.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And has subbed and has been watching. So
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, you definitely are criminally undersubbed, man. That's for sure.
Well, I've really only been doing this for what I think it's just over 2 months now. So, I will take all the subs you guys want to give me. I'm not looking to give horse in the mouth, but I understand. There are some YouTubers have been doing this much longer than I have, and I feel like they're the ones that are actually criminally undersubbed. They put so much work into this, so I appreciate that.
Can you see the chat at all, or no?
No, I can't.
Okay, well, Drew has said that he feels like you have a video to work on together one day, and the topic needs to be explored. So I would give him a DM at some point after this, and you guys should get together. I'll totally tune in for that. And if he if he wants an extra head in there, I'd be glad to join too.
Yeah.
And he said he had 120 subs after 2 months, which isn't bad. I think I had 11.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I expected to be, I did not expect to have the amount of feedback that I've gotten so far. I was genuinely thinking that I would be one of those YouTube channels that posts a video and maybe 11 people have watched. So
Yeah.
my expectations were blown out of the water.
Well, it helps when you've got some folks that are somewhat established, in your corner as well. That does drive up.
Yes, that makes a huge difference. And
for sure.
Then Seth Andrews and Matt Dillahunty shared one of the videos that I've made on their own profiles.
Wow.
And that made I think that's really where the bulk of my audience came from, was from that. Which
that's
really
well deserved too, Adam, just so you know.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, because you make really, really, really good content. And Mark has asked me a question about being that I'm a blood donor, and he says many thanks for that. And he says, have you ever considered shaving your head and donating your hair, obviously for cancer patients, wigs for cancer or whatever, which I've done 3 times already, Mark, and I'm not doing it again. Damn it, I'm keeping this one.
How long have you been growing that out?
This particular one, probably about 4.5 years, 5 years. So
that's an investment. That's a lot of time spent with your hair. I can only imagine if you cut it off, you kind of feel like you've lost a part of yourself.
The first time I did it, well, I was kind of half drunk, and a friend of mine was like, he was already talking about how his sister shaved her head to donate for the wig thing. And I said, yeah, you know what? It's really fucking hot. This was like back in like 93 or 4, I think. And it was a super hot summer. And I was working in the towing industry at the time. And, I'm like, yeah, fuck it, I'll shave my head. So they bicked my hair, right? They just kind of held it up and bicked. I had a couple of cuts going on and shit, right? But and they scooped it up and took it. And then I did it 2 more times. When I grew it back, we did it for a fundraiser thing, and then we did it for another cancer wig thing. And Sassy Atheist has told me to tell you that she says hello. So.
Oh, hi, Sassy.
And Nathaniel Walters says that we are sexy as fuck. So Nathaniel does the.
I can end my channel now. That was the compliment that's the only reason.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, so what made you decide that you wanted to start doing activist type content?
I don't know if it's any one specific thing. As I was mentioning, it kind of just goes in line with a lot of the things that I'm passionate about. I've always been really passionate about the spreading of information, education, and human rights in general.
Yes.
My homeschool education was pretty subpar. I was basically teaching myself, and the curriculum that I had, I mean, it was just a subpar curriculum. It's there to reinforce religious beliefs and not necessarily educate the child. And so education has become a big thing for me, which is why my very first video was talking about some of the negative effects that unregulated homeschooling has. One of the big problems with homeschooling is, since there are no regulations in the states, parents can, in Texas, the parents don't have to have any education qualifications. All they have to do is say, my kids are doing school at home. They don't have to provide any documentation of what they're doing. And then to graduate, a lot of parents just fudge the numbers on a transcript, and then that counts. My diploma is literally just a little piece of paper made in a spreadsheet, and our local community college accepts it. They don't question it.
Really?
Yes. I mean, I was able to hand them that, and they said, okay, that's good. We don't need any other information whatsoever. And I did not think that was going to fly. I expected to need to get it notarized or something, but nope, just like that, because it's homeschooled. So there's a huge mixed bag for what type of education homeschooled children get. So that was the main motivation that I had, was speaking about homeschool issues and how needed better regulations are. So that was really the propelling force for whenever I launched this channel. And since then, I have realized that I don't have to be, I guess I would say, a one-act pony. I can cover multitudes of things. So I basically, right now, I'm in more of an experimental phase of my channel. I'm kind of trying out different formulas and seeing what works best for me and what my audience likes the most.
Sure.
But really and truly, it's just the fact that if I wouldn't have had access to the internet when I was a teenager, I have no clue where I would be today, right? So I was lucky enough that I had my own private device, which is like an iPod that I could get online with. And I was able to actually ask all the questions I couldn't ask to Google, okay? And through that process, I learned how to tell what's a trustworthy site, what's not a trustworthy site, learned how to filter information. And I just don't want other people to ever have to deal with that. I don't want other people to suffer in those ways, because I was fortunate enough that there are some religious people where they homeschool their children and they don't have access to anything that's private. They can't ask any of the questions, and they grow up in these really indoctrinating environments.
Sure, yeah. That's what keeps them there, right? Unless, of course, I hear it a lot, that access to the internet and the ability to get the questions that you have answered, it changes many minds, right? And a website that I would highly recommend if you're looking at to make sure that these sites that you're going to are legitimate and have peer review and all that is a little site that I use quite often to check on it is called Clarivate.com, but it's mji.clarivate.com. And it'll tell you all the journals that are accepted and which ones aren't,
cool.
Right? So it's a very good site to use if you want a site for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Of course, the usual Snopes and shit also help, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but no, if that one has actually mentions more of the journal side, then that would be very helpful. There's a lot of nuance that gets lost in the way that the media reports, popular science. Mm-hmm. It kind of doesn't always necessarily reflect the exact truth of what was discovered or what the findings were. So if it includes more of that, then that'd be fantastic.
It does. It definitely lists everything that would be considered legitimate, and it even has part of the site that'll tell you all the fake ones to look out for.
That's good. That's good. I need to send a list of all those fake ones to a good dozen people on my Facebook.
Well, in Twitter, in the messages, I'll send you the link to the site.
Okay, yeah, that'd be perfect. I'd appreciate that.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, Doorknob Head's already got it in the chat right now, and says ... Neato. So
cool.
Already. Yep, that's the one. Anyway, so I'm sure I've already posted the link for the after party, and you didn't seem opposed to it. I totally forgot to ask you if you were cool.
No, I'm down. I'm down.
All right. You have to meet a few more people. Maybe we can talk Drew into jumping in.
Yeah? Come on, Drew.
I mean, I think that would just be apropos, in my opinion, because he's the reason.
Time with my hair.
Exactly. He's the reason that I ended up finding you, right? So I just think it would be, a cool idea. Yeah. We'll see what he says. He'll probably pop something into the chat at some point. But okay, so your wife is obviously an atheist too, I imagine.
Yes.
But was she? He's in. Was she always that way, or did she have a deconversion thing too?
She was atheist. I would say fairly from a young age, much younger than the majority of us. Her parents are religious, but they are the much more calm and less intrusive types. They don't have a problem. Yeah, they don't have a problem with us, being LGBT plus or anything like that. So she definitely had a lot more freedom to explore, and she did, and she reached atheism, as many of us do when we explore things. Yeah.
So how long you guys been married anyways?
We just hit our 1-year anniversary.
Oh,
We
well, happy
got
anniversary.
married August 8th of last year, and we ran off to Hawaii, and it was amazing. So yes, it has been
Hawaii
one wonderful year. Yes, yes.
Oh,
You know,
man.
we thought about having a traditional wedding, but I didn't want my side of the church to be empty because no one from my family would come. So we decided, how about instead we just spend all of our money on this wedding honeymoon and just go run off to Hawaii. So we
Yeah.
did, and it was wonderful. Yeah.
Hawaiian version of getting married in a little chapel in
Yes. Yes.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations and happy anniversary to both of you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, well, it's awesome, and I think it sucks that it's not allowed in every state down there. You get like various spats of states where it's allowed. It's allowed here, of course, where I live in Vancouver.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Gay people being able to get married.
Yeah, no, that's legal everywhere in the states now.
Oh, is it? Okay,
Yeah.
I thought it was only. I thought there were some that were like holdout states or something.
I don't believe so. I'm pretty sure that it was like the Supreme Court ruled it unconstitutional for them to.
Yeah, and it absolutely is.
Yes, definitely.
Love is love. Like, who fucking cares? Like, just let people be
but
happy.
I will say Hawaii is very liberal compared to a lot of places that I've been here, as they say, on the mainland. It is no one looks twice, and it's just it's completely different. It feels like visiting another country, but you're still technically in the United States.
Yeah, right. Well, it's because you're on an island out in the middle of the Pacific, so that's probably why we're so chill.
Yeah.
We're in the island, you know.
Yeah.
Oh,
if I could move there, I'd be gone.
See, now I say that about Austin. If my company opens up an antifreeze department in Austin, I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm down there.
I'm actually looking, my wife and I are looking to move to Austin hopefully by the end of this year, but if not, by mid-2020, we'll be in Austin.
Yeah, that was a great idea, because that city, I was there, and with the ACA and everything, and everyone was there, and I fell in love with it, and the people are just amazing. The nightlife is amazing. Mind you, I didn't get to see a whole hell of a lot, but it's, these people like Drew were dragging me around to other places, but it was a lot of fun, and I can't wait till next year because I want to get back down there. Christy is actually in the chat now.
Yes.
I didn't even realize that till that. And you're welcome. Yeah, she's saying thanks, I guess, for the whole happy anniversary and all that stuff. All right. So, is there anything else you'd like? Do a little promo of your channel and stuff. Like, what do you got coming up?
So, I actually have a collaboration with X-Cult Baby coming up.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes, I'm hoping to have that out by next week. I am currently in the stages where my computer isn't quite good enough, but I don't have the money to get a better one. So Adobe Premiere has been driving me up the wall. It took 48 hours to edit this last Hunger Games video that I did. But I did release a video today. There's this YouTube channel called Light Exposing Darkness that created a whole video talking about how the Hunger Games is mocking God. And of course, it's very steeped in conspiracy theory. And so I decided to dissect the first half, and the second half will come out once I hit 100 likes on the first. And that took me 48 hours, almost straight. I mean, obviously I slept, but other than that, all I did was edit. So I'm hoping that I can get the stuff ready for me and X-Cult and have that out by this upcoming weekend. That's definitely the thing I'm most excited about right now. She also was homeschooled, and so this video will focus more around homeschooling, and I wanted to have another homeschooler's input on the content. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Me too now, because it sounds like a really interesting topic.
Yes, and if any of you in the chat have not heard of X-Cult's Baby or haven't watched her stuff yet, go check her out, because she's another new YouTuber that does a really
fantastic
good job. Yeah.
And hint, she's been on my show, so go look for that one if you want to learn a little bit about her.
I wasn't sure if she had been on yours yet, but yes.
Yeah. Well, I had her and Owen, who's also known as Telltale Atheist.
Yeah.
They came on at the same time. He's like, let me on. I'm like, okay, I'll let you.
Cool.
It's like what I'm gonna say no to Telltale? Like that just doesn't happen.
Yeah, because you have to say
awesome.
no to Seth or something, right?
Yeah. Well, I had Seth on too, Seth Andrews.
Yeah.
Which was
Matt, you haven't had Matt though yet, right?
Nope. Okay. And I keep telling people that
you'll drag him in here one day. He can only say no so long, right?
Well, right now he's super busy, so I get it, right? But
yeah,
I've told the people that are in the know with him, like I met him too, and we were hanging out at his house and stuff, and he told me about a new card game called Keyforge, because I'm actually a Yu-Gi-Oh guy. Like I just came from a tournament today, right? So and so I want to talk a little bit about that with him too, because I actually talked my card shop guy into getting that in. So I'm going to start a little league here. I think he should know. Nice. Kind of inspired that in me. So anyways, and I keep telling people to tell him, he's got to come on. He said he would a while back, but being as busy as he is, and a lot of the shit that went down after that whole ordeal, like I'm just waiting for all that to settle, and then Matt will come in and we'll have a great conversation, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe if we practice ahead of time, Matt can whip out his that sounds kind of disturbing, but I'm talking about his little ukulele that like GM Skeptic and I and Matt did a little I tried. They were much better than me, but I was singing along with one of Drew's tunes that he wrote.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We need to practice more before we go, to a big audience, so to speak. And I'm trying to talk the boys in my band to come down to Faithless Forum next year to do something there. Maybe that
would be really cool. That would be really cool. And I'll be there. So if you successfully talk them into it, I'll get to see it.
Yeah, well, they're like, oh, geez, I don't know. I'm like, dude, you got a year to decide. So, if you're up for it, make some plans, come down for the weekend, fly home. I'm staying for a couple of weeks next time. So
cool.
Yeah, I'm going to be hanging out, going to some Texas barbecue and all sorts of shit. So
that's good.
Bugging all the other guys. Hey, bring me on your channel. Yeah. So because I'm kind of annoying that way. I'm like one of those splinters that you get that you can't even get out with a pin. One of those things.
Squeaky wheel gets the grease.
That's what my dad always used to say, actually. And it's true. It is true to some degree. Either the squeaky wheel gets the grease or the guy chucks the whole wheel out. It's one or the other. I need a new wheel. So anyway, well, Adam, guys, go sub to his channel right now. The link is down below. Follow on Twitter. Link is also down below. And I'm going to do a shameless self-plug here. And I don't have a Patreon yet, but I will have one at some point. If you guys dig what I do, you can help to donate to the channel through my PayPal me, which is down below. And I've already had a few people donate, which is great because I dropped a huge amount of coin on this computer. Oh, that's the other thing I was going to tell you. Dell does payments if you want to get one of these suckers, eh? This Alienware computer that I got is awesome.
Yeah, I wanted something Alienware for a long time.
I don't know why I didn't do this sooner. Like I'm punching myself in the face every day. Like, why didn't you do this sooner?
Yes, as soon as I can, this is exactly where I'm going.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, it's wonderful. And everything like instantly hooks up when it's like, oh shit, this is easy. It's like the fastest thing I've ever owned, which was part of the problem that I had before was my processor speed, right? So I had to get something better because the processing speed in my old one, I was like, especially. I have an i5 in my computer, and I need something beefier for sure. Yeah, absolutely. But I highly recommend that. Try Dell. They do allow payment plans. All right. Well, Adam, thank you so much for coming on my channel. It's such a pleasure to actually get to talk to you face to face. Yes, thank you for having me. Oh, it was absolute pleasure. And guys, I want to thank you guys for tuning in and hanging out with us. I hope you guys enjoyed the show as much as I did, or as we did, I should say. Pardon me. Yeah. So selfish. Anyway, so you guys, we will be doing an after party. Adam has agreed to join us, and we'll have a little special guest. Mr. Genetically Modified Skeptic has also said he'd like to jump in for a bit. So Tune in. The link is already on my Twitter because I decided, I'm going to be smart and actually put it ahead of time so people can follow it. So give me about 10 minutes and we'll get it going. Adam, this was so much fun. I knew it was going to be, and you definitely have to take a picture of that big ass poster thing behind you.
Yes, I will, and yes, for sure.
All right.
If I don't, everyone just scream at me on Twitter in my mentions. Post a fucking picture.
It'll be like, all right, fine. And then do it like take a shot of each one separately and make people wait every day for the next party. just as some form of punishment. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, guys. And also, we'll see you guys at the after party. And like the late, great Christopher Hitchens once said, remember, it's called faith because it's not knowledge. And we shall see you guys next time.